I think what we should do is talk a little bit about maybe what we heard and what we've received maybe in Twitter feeds at this point, and also answer questions that we might have. But remember, the overall theme is, how do we get research translated? What have we heard that's going to help us translate our research into practice? Have we heard anything that we want to take back to our institutes and work on? What were the messages that resonated with you? Because I think it would help us when we do these future meetings. I have asked the INRS folks who are here, and also others to comment briefly. Inger is going to comment on a particular way that they use in her country to talk about how they know about things are actually impacted. I think it's a good story, and we'll have some time for that. And Marie de France will talk a little bit about the INRS also in this area, and then we'll open it to the floor at this point. But I'd like to just ask if we have some Twitter comments. Daniela, you might want to read.
Okay, I just wanted to summarize a bit what we got as tweets on our TransOsh hashtag. And actually, there has been quite some activity, and as always, 3 or 4 people were driving the discussion, so I would really like to thank Georg Effenberger, Jan-Michiel Meusen, Professor Andrew Curran as our Twitter champions here, Tim Tregenza from EU OSHA. What has been discussed, tweeted, is a few comments and actually rewarding remarks on our great keynote speakers, such as from Jan-Michiel, Max Lam from NIOSH delivering a great speech on OSH communication at PEROSH Research Exchange event in Warsaw. I can only say yes, he did. Thank you very much. Tim Tregenza, also Max Lam, content is still king, but we have to use different means of dissemination. So this is comments. Also some comments on our very, very great conference painter, leaving us gorgeous decoration memories that we will use at the new PEROSH office as decorations, and maybe also here at CEOP. And then a few open questions that will remain from our discussions in the keynote sessions, but also in the parallel sessions. As for example, Professor Andrew Curran asking, how do we identify and control the new risks emerging from combining systems in the workplace, including humans and machines? That was on the Prevention Through Design parallel session. And just the last question that was put by PEROSH. In smart working environments, do we need continuous and real-time risk management in companies? So, well, this hashtag will remain in Twitter. You can, of course, after the conference, have a look at it, and for more pictures, more comments, more questions. Thank you very much.
Any additional comments from anyone in the audience at this point? We're not going to ask you to answer these questions at this point, but through Twitter, that would be very, very good. I just want to thank the graphic artist. I think she deserves a round of applause. It's amazing. I think that the caricatures of the speakers got better as the days went on. Just take a look at those. They really do look like the people that presented in just the right way. So in that case, I'm glad I went first, because mine is a little bit not defined, which is appropriate. I think at this point I'm going to ask Inger if she would share, Inger Schomburg, if she would share what they do at the Danish Institute in order to kind of understand the impact of their research. I've heard her present before, and I thought what she had to say was really important for the topics that we talked about today. Inger?
Yeah, I know you're tired, so I'm going to do this brief. But I'll tell you a little bit about campaigns that we have used in Denmark in order to get our research, I'll get our research out to the workplaces and have people use what we actually are working with. So I'll skip that and say we have 5 campaigns. One we call From Stress to Well-Being, one about job and body, prevent workplace bullying, prevent workplace violence, and sound organizational changes. And they're sort of made the same way that we use different platforms. We have a website in Denmark, and if you remember, Denmark is a small country. We are about 5 million people, and we have 1 million hits on our website a year. So I can't say that every 5th person has been on the website, as we don't count them as individual members, but we are pretty proud of that. And we have also the old printed materials. We do events. We have ads in magazines. We have ads in TV. We have Facebook and social media and mobile communicators, like a traveling team. We have had special money for a few years where we can, in the public sector, can send our communicators out and talk about these 5 campaigns to have people work with it. And we've met about 100,000 people in personal face-to-face contact in hospitals, in communes, in the public sector. And they didn't have to pay for it, so that also made it easier. I don't know if the YouTube is working. Do you know that? Okay. Otherwise, you can just go on our website and look at the small video film. It's actually an elevator, and the boss is standing in front, and the employee in the back. And the boss is asking the employee, "So how are you today?" And, well, you would expect, "I feel fine." And he says, "I feel really lousy." And you can imagine, you go on the elevator at the ground floor and you go up to the 2nd floor, and the chief has to find out what to say in these few seconds. And you have to take this opportunity if you want to discuss how to get from stress to well-being. Otherwise, this man is going to be sicklisted. The job and body is almost the same way, and here we have a small film where this man is on the sofa. He has a back pain, but then the sofa lifts up and stands like this, and this man says, "Well, if you have a back pain, please get going and try to stay at work, talk to your colleagues, talk to your leader, and find out to regulate your work so that you're able to do it even though you have a back pain." So this is a way to sort of discuss these things. And in this, we also have an app where you can see the balance between work and workload. And also we have SMS where you get a small message once a week if you sign up, and it tells you the little good things that you can do. We try to measure the impact of our campaigns. We try to measure knowledge, relevance and use, and also if they do any action. We do it by having another firm to ask 4,000 people about what they think about the campaigns of our institute. We asked 2,000 people from the private sector and 2,000 people from the public sector, so that we know. And I think it's important to know, because this is the only way that you'll get the money to do this. If you can tell the minister or whoever gives you the money that it actually works. And of course we also use web statistics and number of sold pamphlets and so. But knowledge, relevance, action. And maybe you think that action is the most important thing, and you can say, well, how do you find out whether there is an action? I mean, we can't measure the action at the workplace, but we can ask people if they have actually discussed it at their workplace and try to set motion on doing different things than they did before. And if we look at those 5 campaigns, you can see that 40% knows the one that's from stress to well-being. This is the oldest campaign, but that's pretty good that 40% knows this campaign. Job and Body is a little younger campaign, and 18%, and 20 and 10, and the Sound Organizational Changes is only 2%. It's the newest campaign. And of those who know it, how many use it and find it relevant, and of those who know it, how many take action at their workplace or discuss it with people at their workplace. So, and 58% know at least one of the 5 campaigns. So I think the conclusion is that it's a good thing to make a tool to measure the effect of these things, and you can of course do it in different ways. We chose this one, and I think that we will continue with this one maybe in a little different way. And of course there is a balance between the cost to operate your system and the effect of the system. And what we will do is that we will go home and talk some more if we can be better to do these things that we have been, and we'll try to use what Max told us, that sort of combine the different ways of using the social media. So thank you.
Actually, our head of communication, Stefan Vaxeler, who is not here today, he's trained on a regular basis by Max. So he's really committed, or he's really engaged in social media. And I just wanted to share with you 2 experiences we had with social media. The first one is on LinkedIn. IANA has opened a page on LinkedIn, and we decided to open a specific sub-account on a tool called Mixi. Mixi is a tool to assess risk related to co-exposure to different chemical substances, to assess the risk and the fact that the chemical product, the effect of the chemical product could be create an added value. And we had only 50 subscribers to this specific LinkedIn web page. So we decided to extend the scope to chemical risk assessment. And to upload some information about our training session, about workshop, conferences, result of research on this LinkedIn page. And in 1 year, we moved from 50 subscribers to more than 900 subscribers. So going from a niche, from a very technical tool, extending the scope of the LinkedIn page to a more general theme, was a very success story for us, and we managed to convince 3 of our experts to put messages once a week on this LinkedIn web page, and really they really like it. One of our experts, he put his PowerPoint presentation from a workshop, and it got 600 views without doing nothing. You know, it's really a way to disseminate information, the result of your research, free and very easily. But this was a way to connect to a specific target group, because LinkedIn is more used by expert, by professional. So it's one of our experience. And another example I wanted to share with you is Facebook. We have at IANRS a video contest on which we call From School to Work. We call on young people to create videos on their view on OSH at work. And at the ceremony award, my colleague, Stefan Maxwell, who is head of communication, found out that the young people took photos of themselves, you know. And he decided to open a Facebook account from school to work to put the pictures of the video contest and also some infographics. And what was really funny is that not only the young people went on this Facebook page, but the teachers went also on the Facebook page, because they found out that on that Facebook page they can find useful materials to convince their people, their students, to participate to the video contest. So
That's great. Yeah.
So it's really a way.
Yeah.
I mean, we experience it. It's not that we are not that experienced like Max is, but you know, by experiencing this new social media, you find find out that you can reach different target groups.
You try to keep the parents off the picture page, I would imagine, right? Yeah. That's great. Thank you. Thanks for. Does anybody here use LinkedIn? Would you share how you use it? Just a couple of thoughts. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, it's I posted most messages on LinkedIn, and it connects directly to Twitter. It's really efficient. I mean, you don't have to use both programs. So when you post a message on LinkedIn, you can immediately post it through to your Twitter account.
Great. A good point. Over here, I think somebody else using LinkedIn. It's funny, now the hands go down. Someone over here said they do use it. Who else uses LinkedIn? Okay, right here. Just tell us quickly how you use it.
Just connect to people I meet at conferences. If I forgot my card, for instance, that's very easy. But that's the only thing I do.
It's professional.
Yeah.
Right.
And I post, sometimes I post a message on my LinkedIn page. But for instance, the well-being conference.
Yeah. Does PEROSH have a LinkedIn page just for PEROSH participants?
Yes.
Yeah. So go on that page, sign up. Also, it's important in LinkedIn, you know, you can post videos of yourself or anyone, I suppose, but you can post videos of yourself talking about what you're interested in. And I remember when I first set up my LinkedIn page, I posted a video saying why we were getting involved in social media. And more people watched the videos than they actually paid attention to the page, you know. So I think it's very important to use all the tools, you know, LinkedIn has. It also links to Twitter. There are 3 very good summer programs that train people coming from developing countries that I know about here in Europe, and actually one in Asia. One is in Brescia, at Roberto Lucchini's summer program at the University of Brescia. And the other one is in Munich, Katja Redan's program in Munich. And then there's the Asian program. And they've all linked up together on LinkedIn. So even though they don't know each other, folks that were there in Roberto's program know each other, but they don't know who was in the Munich program, they don't know who was in the Asian program, but now they're communicating among themselves and sharing information. And it's all really done in LinkedIn, and it also provides you those extra contacts. It's worked very well. Yes?
I added some new our experience in the dissemination of knowledge and create awareness of society to safety and health. All presentation by Max and by our colleagues, it was excellent and very, very important for future of our relation with society. We have at our institute now, of course, the web. We have 3.5 million of visitors every year, and it is very, very high and is very popular in Poland. It is very professional, so we are proud of it, but probably now we're going to more active way. for contact, for communication. And we have Facebook for the campaign, and take part in the Wikipedia with EU ORSA created. So it is our, at this moment. But we have do something which I think that you find interesting. It is poster competition. Every year we arrange poster competition. This year it is work and free time. It is in Polish and English. And you can, when you leave, all of you take one of this catalog. But we have here, before it was stress, for example, it was chemical hazards, it was the computer world, it was different, and they are very popular. We have more than 10,000 of posters now, and they are on the website, and you can buy it by internet. And the exhibition is now at the downstairs of the institute, and after it's going around of Poland. So the posters is something really, and I think that you find something funny and something interesting. So it is our Polish experience.
It's a sort of a mix of traditional media and new media.
I would like to ask a question that I know at least Pauline and I have. We are some institutes in Europe that, and that's also for you, Danuta, that has a different language than English. And this means that we have a homepage in our own native language. And this idea of linking to Google, it doesn't really work unless that we translate everything. So I think it's I don't know if anyone has got any thoughts about how do we do this if we have another native language than English. Yeah, but it's expensive to have a homepage in both your own language and English. But well, I thought that if there were any shortcuts, I would like to know them.
If you search in Dutch in Google in your country, can you search in your language on Google? Is that possible?
Yes.
So then it will, whatever's there. I mean, it's not, it maybe is extensive, but it will come up, and you can just work the system the same way. You want to be at the top of the list for your topic areas, but it should work the same way. Algorithm, I mean. We
work in our own country, but if we want to share globally, it's a little harder.
Right. And that's, in a way, that's why we're suggesting Wikipedia, because one of the things that I met, this is hard for me to imagine, but we were at Wikipedia, the company Wikipedia, which is Wikimedia, the bigger company, and they introduced us to this Wikidata concept. And they said that the #1 site is English, second is German, I think third is Spanish, and from on down. But they said once we establish this data in Wikidata, they're going to translate it, not into their 125 languages, we know that, but we could work with them. You know, let's translate it into 20 languages, or 24 languages. And I mean, they mentioned it. You know, that this is, if we can do an American site related to whatever data we want to share, they're going to translate it. So that's part of what we're trying to learn how to do. And I think the same with Wikipedia. And I think that's one of the strong points, because I think, you know, I think Marie raised the issue to me in the coffee break as well, should I go home and edit the French Wikipedia? And we're saying, well, if your abstracts are in English for your research, then why don't you put your research abstracts on the English page, so at least researchers know that there's this study in France and they'll get it. If they want it, they'll figure out how to get it and download it and translate it. So at least we have it in one place. But that doesn't mean in the French site you don't create a page, perhaps, because it's not automatic. You know, English automatic isn't automatically translated into other pages.
Yes, at the EU WARSAW we work in, I think it's 25 languages officially, which is problematic. But in terms of driving search engines and visibility, we have our own thesaurus, which we developed some time ago, and at least if you're using keywords, they don't have to be only in English. You can use the equivalent keywords to drive your own language searches. The ILO has a thesaurus in 5 languages, if you're getting into something like... but then there's also Eurovoc, which is the European thesaurus, which again is more general than occupational safety and health, but that also has a large range of languages to help you steer your potential visitors. Yes, once they get there, you've got to know what to do if people are arriving there and they don't speak English or whatever, but you can do some sorting there.
Yeah, we tried to add some foreign, non-American, non-English resources to some of our research, because we know it was done in another country, and we had trouble with Wikipedia for posting it. So that's why these are the things we have to work out with, with Wikipedia to make it more global, and I think over time we should be able to do that. But the keywords, that's pretty interesting, and the fact that you have that translation ability is key. Back here, yes.
Perhaps I can add another issue about translation. For Stoff Manager, we also were struggling with translation. We now have the 4 languages or more languages will come. In the beginning we did it with Excel. That was not manageable anymore.
Yeah.
So we developed a translation manager. That's a web-based translation manager. You start from translating in English, and then you can choose between a different language. Of course it's still manual work, but it's online translation. Every evening we upload it to our development platform, and every month we can then put it online in the live tool. So it's very efficient. It's still manual work, but it's online translation, no Excels, no paperwork, online. That helps.
Can you send us a link somehow? Can we get a link to that?
No, but it's a private tool, the translation manager, but the system, we can share it with you how it works. That's not a problem.
So do you have to buy the tool?
Yes, you have to buy the tool. It's not ours. It's developed by our IT company. Yeah, but the idea behind this is it works, manageable. Yeah.
Other comments at this point? I think one of the things that Danielle asked me to do is to kind of sit in some of the other sessions and listen and think about dissemination of the information that we heard. And there were some amazing presentations. One of them was, and the other, some of you may have been in this session, it was, I think, Norcha from TNO presenting the evaluation of apps. We haven't talked about apps very much, and everyone's using apps. In the US, WhatsApp is #1, I think. I don't know if that's true in Europe. But she had this great presentation about them downloading, at the point they did the research, I think 100 and some apps, and then selecting 44 apps and seeing if they followed any behavioral theory to get people for well-being. It was basically well-being. And then, how many are really following good theory, and then how many are just sort of there. And I think the range was something like, the highest one was they follow 16 basic theories of health behavior change, and maybe down to 1, behavior change in the app. But when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking a 1-minute video talking just about that program would create a lot of buzz, I think, particularly now because we're all interested in apps. And now you've introduced a theory-based way that other people could look at their apps in terms of what they're doing. So a video there would be an easy way, not so easy, but a minute video, you probably could do that. But that seemed to fit very well to that program. I don't know if anybody else heard that program, has the same thought. Maybe there's another way to get that information out, but I thought it was very interesting. The other, I heard in the same session a presentation, I think, by Chris Barber, which was from the HSE, which really was more for physician education, really a very e-tool. He calls it an e-tool. But what was interesting about that is the e-tool, which included a video for this particular occupational asthma, to call attention to it and have some basic factors in determining occupational asthma. I think the interesting thing there is he made it mobile. That means the physician can be riding, the tube and look at his site and then get to the office and put it on his hard drive or whatever, and he can complete the the program for CME or to get credit, and then but he thought about moving it to a mobile platform because it's important to do that. I thought that was a real good example of making sure that we have different platforms for our material. Also at that same meeting, I guess in the prevention through design session, which was in the other room too, there was a discussion about health activities and e-health activities. In other words, an e-health initiative was to be an initiative that was only on the internet, and an m-health initiative was only on mobile. I don't think that distinction is anymore. I think that is gone as a distinction. Everything E is going to be M. So I think we should look for EM activities, and it's something we always should think about it, but we did so many E activities, and they went out of date at some point, and we never did mobile at that point because everybody had phones that looked like bricks, at that point. So I think this EM activity is something another platform that we should think of always going mobile. Again, I thought in the prevention through design section, I looked on the internet, I looked on Wikipedia under prevention through design. It's just a really not very good site, okay? It's just crying out for content. But it did mention a couple of countries that are involved in this prevention through design. It mentioned the UK, it mentioned the Australia, it mentioned NIOSH. We might have even done the page, I don't remember that, but it's a page where I think it was brought up, we were talking about Industry 4.0, which is really this issue of robotics and the Internet of Things actually applying within industry. And there's to me, that's an ideal topic maybe for the OSH Wiki. There's, the Internet 4.0, that's interesting, but it's probably not, particularly useful yet for Wikipedia, but certainly you could place it in Wikipedia edits that would drive people to the OSH Wiki. Because you can get into the OSH Wiki to read, you just have to register, sign up if you want to edit. So, that's a distinction I think we should make, that the OSH Wiki really is almost like a journal, although I'm sure Tim would characterize it that way, but it's almost like a journal for a particular topic. It's kind of the beginning point maybe for these topics that we heard at this meeting. I thought it was maybe an option for us. And I think the other issue that we heard actually from our keynote speakers this afternoon was Ludwig's presentation was really interesting because it was kind of, as he went through his presentation, it was like how we've applied research in this system, that everything that was presented, everything that they were checking has some research base to it. So it's an interesting example of, you're doing paper questionnaires at some point, or you're using a mix of, again, what you've learned from research. I thought it was, very interesting and certainly right on the money for what they need it for. And then, the success failure factors for the implementation of zero accidents. Our second speaker, it was nice because he broke it down into factors which allow you to actually do whatever social media you want for each factor. You had the 3 communication factors that were important for implementing zero accident. Then he had the 5 learning factors that are important for implementation of zero accidents. And the 4 cultural factors, each one of those is a story into itself, I think, that would drive people to the total, presentation. So again, I'm going to stop now and just hopefully you might have some things you would like to say about what you've learned or what you think is important or what we missed. And one last commercial, please realize you will get an email from me about the NEVA meeting in April. For if you can't get enough of social media, we're going to give you the full course at NEVA. It's an international program. It's not just NIOSH teaching it. We have the INRS and STAME is involved with it, and I think we are looking forward to the April 5 through 7. So we'll send you some information on that. We hope that this will lead to maybe some kind of joint activity between PEROSH and NIOSH and other partners to see if we can't link our international information on Wikipedia, and we can work together in the community space. But we work there. We don't send it anywhere. We put our information up, and we take our lumps from our other partners saying it needs to be adjusted, and we put it there. We refer to the reference section. So that's something we really look forward to doing. So again, it's been a real pleasure for me to be here, and thank you, Daniela, for the invitation. I really enjoyed it. But I'd really like to hear some closing remarks from people in the audience about what they have taken away or what they feel they might want to have more information about. So could somebody be our victim and raise their hand first? Yes.
I was in one session where the presenter said, and I've learned this morning that I have to go with my tool into Wikipedia.
Good. And under other, has anybody edited Wikipedia? Tim, what section did you? It was just general. Did you do a Wikipedia for the OSH wiki?
No, my personal.
Your personal.
I did it on personal Wikipedia. I don't think we've made any significant investment as EU WARSAW on Wikipedia, and it's one of the things we have to think about for the future and how it links to the OSH wiki and other information sources. When I have done it personally, and I've edited OSH pages as well as non-OSH pages. Yes, football's just as important as health and safety. But for me, you don't get a financial benefit out of it, but you do get an ego boost.
Right.
And I think this is, we all like to be published, and I think this is one of the big added values of something like Wikipedia.
I think the number one page on Wikipedia, the most pages on Wikipedia is for football. There's over 100, we call it soccer, there's over 100 pages, 100 separate edits in football. We found that out when we went to San Francisco to talk to Wikimedia, and it's constantly increased. So, but we have looked across the board, and I think we've identified, again, about 1,600 pages that deal with occupational safety and health. But I'm sure there are many more. A lot of those are chemicals, and they only concern really our institute. For instance, there's nothing on laser safety. We don't do any research on laser safety, but some other institutes do. So that's the benefit of the global kind of editing that might occur. Anybody in your institute that have used Facebook for campaigns? Have you used campaigning?
Yeah.
Yes,
You do that, yeah. And what is it? The campaign that you just described, Inger?
Yeah, we've made a campaign for young people. We have every year in the week that's numbered 43, that was last week, there is a special attention on young people at the technical schools, and we use the Facebook, and we have a certain character that we call Erling the Lehrling. It's it's a young guy in a film that makes everything wrong. So and it's in a funny way. So we use these things to have discussions with young people about OSH.
Anybody else use Facebook for?
The same, we in our campaigns for skin diseases and also the back pain, we also use films, funny films to discuss this with young people. I'm not so sure if it's so, how do you say in English, it's fine for the campaign, but is it really changing the behavior in the long term? When you use Facebook, it's one element, one of several elements.
I think that's something, we have only done, I think, 2 really research programs where we looked at our Twitter site. The question is, what are you doing with the information? And through SurveyMonkey, which is a online survey tool, which you probably know about, we just picked 300 people that were retweeting our information and just asked them what they're doing with the information. And I think that's the kind of impact, I'd like to ask 30,000 people what they're doing with the information, and then maybe go have some interviews for people that are really feel that they're using it in the workplace. And I think that's where we sort of have to go. It'd be great to do that in a way that we could share that information.
Maybe I can also say something. I think we have the experience, of course, TNO is very big, and so it goes from cybersecurity to OSH. And so our experience is what you said, it's much easier to generate a lot of traffic with a specific site. We have one on dust-free working, and we have one on all our monitor data, on sustainable employment, and these are much easier to get across and have a community than the bigger TNO site, of course, which is a lot of everything.
Yeah, that sort of reminds me that we would open our blog to you. If you'd like to do a blog on the NIOSH Science website, you'll get more traffic than we do. Every blog that we've done where we've had a guest blogger gets more traffic than our scientists. And then, unfortunately, you have to answer the questions that they'll ask. That's part of the blogging thing. But and we would like to do it. A guest on your blog, a guest blog on your blogs if you have blogs. Because I think, again, this is the backlinking that occurs that gives authority to our organization. And it's complicated. We're not quite sure how it all works. It's all math. The head of Google's, or they're not communicators, they're all mathematicians, who like the algorithms. So it's not driven by, let's say, a communication focus always. Any other comments? Apps? Anybody used apps for outreach or talking about their research in any way? How about texting? Have we used texting to text people, for instance? There is texting. I think CDC has used texting to make sure that I think women come in for examinations, pregnant women, first pregnancy, particularly among a group of women to come in, and it's just a text saying, don't forget, today is your day to come in, but they'll send it maybe 2 or 3 days ahead of time. Don't forget to bring this. We want to know your weight, what problems you have, don't forget, and then the day it comes in, you get another text. It's been very, very effective in terms of people, fulfilling their visits to the doctor. That's one of it's called Texting for Baby, I think it's actually called. Kind of an interesting, and actually they've done some evaluation.
I don't have many research publications, but a few. But also many other colleagues are there, and they are downloaded. You get stats of your amounts of downloads, and sometimes you get alerts of colleagues who have become a member of ResearchGate. So I find that also quite an interesting community for further dissemination of your research. It's full articles you can put there, PDFs, a lot. You can download a lot. You can search on many terms. ResearchGate is really interesting.
How many people here on ResearchGate? The only downside is they give you a number. They give you a ranking. And if you've only done 6 articles over 35 years, it's embarrassing, frankly. But it's a very good site because it connects you with other researchers who ask questions. For me, they say, I noticed you did this communication study on latex allergy. How come the numbers are so small? And how could I do this with a larger numbers? I mean, I think again, it's the sharing of information that's the important part of it. I think it's run by a German in Berlin, I believe, the organization that runs it. So, okay, I think we don't want you to miss the bus to the airport. And again, thanks. Yes,
very organizational things. At first, there will be a bus, as you have heard, in 5 minutes here at this building to the airport. And there will be parts of the videos we got today will come on our webpage, and also the paintings. Again, thank you to the painters. And thank you to all of you for coming for these 1.5 wonderful days. Thank you to all speakers, to the session leaders. I have learned a lot, and I take some of these with me to the Institute and also to our PEROSH group. It was not only the social media, it was also to get a network, to strengthen this network, to learn from each other. And my impression was I was in all sessions for a while, and we made a good start there. Thank you for the perfect organization from Danuta and her team.
It is for Daniel, Director Podgórski, and for Katrin, and all what is good, it is for them. If some mistakes, it is mine.
So, thank you for coming again, and have all a safe trip back home, and maybe we meet next year again.